the lead surname and the reservation number. And it may be different to the reservation number could differ from the receipt number given to you by the agent or the tour operator, but it should be on the paperwork somewhere. Once you're logged in, you're presented with information such as airport terminal, the seat you've got, the meals you have booked, the distance you're going to be flying, and how long it should take. And sometimes you can add hotel and car hire details on as well. So whenever you travel, if you've got everything on this system, you can just use any internet cafe or hotel internet, and you can access all your details you need, just in case you lose the paper copies. And of course, the website may be able to offer you some tools to assist you with your trip, such as visa advice and some maps. And the examples of the websites are www.checkmytrip.com and www.mytripandmore.com. Next time you book a scheduled flight, visit one of them websites, put in your surname and the reservation number, and look at the information you can find about your flight. If you do want to put an itinerary together, and I will be talking about this in the travel news later on in the show, about the problems of doing this, there's a website called TripIt, www.tripit.com. And this allows you to put your itinerary together, just like these third-party itinerary websites I just mentioned. And they can be stored for your own use, or you can share it using social media. And again, I'll be talking about that later. And you can include all sorts of information on this TripIt app. You can have maps, directions, weather, and you can also access it with a smartphone with an app. I know somebody, South African travel agent, uses it an awful lot. I always know wherever he is in the world because it comes up on Facebook and tells me. And if you're the sort of person who wants to do that, and I will talk about this later in the show, then such a website such as TripIt will allow you to do it. After the break, I'm going to be talking more about booking flights, more about information you should be aware of, and I'll be starting off with luggage or baggage, depending on how you want to call it.
This is Seclo Sounds, and you can listen to us by clicking Listen Live on our homepage at seclosounds.org for a choice of players. Via TuneIn Radio at www.tunein.com, search for Seclo Sounds and listen online or download the TuneIn app. You can download the Seclo Sounds iPhone app from the iTunes App Store, and you can listen to us on demand at our replay page.
You can contact me at john.guinn@seclosounds.org.
This is Seclo Sounds. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for 1 hour in the company of Harry and Edna on the Wireless, exploring all aspects of the vintage scene and playing tip-top gramophone tunes. Harry and Edna on the Wireless, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on seclosounds.org. Jolly good.
Sound the big thing now.
Hi, blessings to each and every one of you. Join me, Darren Hoy, with the Reggae Takeover Show for 2 hours of the finest reggae vibes, each and every Wednesday, 9 through to 11 p.m, here on Seclo Sounds. Don't miss out on your weekly Sunshine Fix, featuring Roots, Rude Boy, Dub, Lovers Rock, Ska, One Drop, and much, much more. So go on, give your sound system a treat. Join me, wind down low, and skank the night away. One love. That's Wednesdays, 9 through to 11 p.m, live on Seclo Sounds.
Get it up, my selector.
You can make comments about the show at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. If you can hear a little bit of a background noise, it's just that my computer's decided to go in overdrive and the fan's really going for it at the moment, so apologises for that. And also, travel news later in the show, stories about another internet big boy getting into the travel trade and could be another nail in the coffin for travel agents. And I will be continuing what to look for in flights. But at the moment, I've got this press release, which I was going to put in the travel news section, but it's not really travel news because it's kind of like a story coming from an umbrella company that tells you it's going to rain, so you need an umbrella. It's a similar sort of vein. So it's not really travel news, but it's something I thought you'd like to be aware of. 18 months, 2 years ago, I had a company on the show called flight-delayed.co.uk, and they help people put claims to airlines if they've been denied boarding or delayed, and they're entitled to compensation under the European Union Directive EU 261. I'm actually using flight-delayed at the moment to put in a claim to Virgin for a flight I had a couple of years ago, where I was delayed by over 5 hours. We took off, pilot came on, said there's a problem, dumped all the fuel, turned around, came back, And at the time, if it's a technical issue, you couldn't put in a claim for compensation. But a recent court case has changed that and now said that a technical issue, people are entitled to compensation if they're delayed. So I thought I'd just try the flight dash delayed to try it out. It's costing me around 20% of my claim, but it's money I wouldn't have got anyway, and it saves me a lot of grief. I just have to send a few emails and they do all the chasing. I've just had an email saying that, yes, Virgin have agreed they're going to pay, but unfortunately they paid the wrong amount to the wrong amount of people in the wrong method. So I haven't got my money yet, but I'll let you know. But anyway, back to this press release. It's from a similar company to Flight Delayed. It's actually a company called EU Claim. And they've got some stats which back up why you need a company like EU Claim. There's a surprise. Umbrella, rain, remember? But according to them, flight cancellations and delays rose in the first part of the year, according to their own analysis of the flights. And they're saying it's down to the bad weather, winter weather at the start of the year, and a series of strikes, which has meant a 20% rise in the number of cancellations and delayed over last year. And Monarch, apparently, according to this, has suffered the greatest increase in delays, with passengers experiencing 64 instances compared to 47 in the same period last year. And EasyJet saw a 19% increase with 245 delays in the first 4 months. And a company called Jet2, which you're probably more aware of if you're in the north of the country, they had 17% increase. Ryanair and Thomson Airways both saw a 6% rise, and Virgin Atlantic 7%. It's not all bad news though, because Thomas Cook Airlines cut delays by 37% and British Airways saw an 11% reduction, so it's not all bad. EU Claim said that the weather across Europe for the beginning of this year was far worse than last year, and it particularly affected Jet2, EasyJet and Monarch, with the airline suffering considerable delays to ski routes in France. So that makes sense, wouldn't it? The second cause highlighted was the number of strikes in Europe. If you remember, I said that last week that the weather's going to get poor because the French air traffic controllers have cancelled their strike, and they only strike when the weather is good. And looking out the window at the moment, I can see that my weather forecast was right. It's terrible, and the strikes are cancelled. But it wasn't just France. The Lufthansa had a four-day strike, which meant that there's 116 flights cancelled just in the UK. So check out EU261, which I've had on the show, mentioned on the show before. I'll probably mention in a little minute anyway. And if you want to use a company to get compensation, then there's Flight Dash Delayed, or there's this one called EU Claim, or you could do it yourself. And Flight Dash Delayed do show you how to do it yourself if you wish to, and my brother did, and he got €2,000. So it is worth looking into compensation claims. Right. Back to my what to look out for when booking flights. I'm just going to cover luggage at the minute. And you've booked a cheap ticket, but is your luggage included? It's not always. I've met a couple at Luton Airport who didn't realise they hadn't paid for their luggage, and their cheap trip suddenly got more expensive because their luggage claims was near enough more price than the accommodation and their flight in the first place. So that was a nice shock. So do you have to make sure if you're flying hand luggage only, it's hand luggage and checked as baggage, that you follow the security rules that are set down. Security rules are for everybody, and I will mention this later in the show in Travel News. No exceptions. As many people try and get through Luton Airport security, I've noticed. I think, well, it doesn't apply to me. I don't look like a terrorist. But if you're flying with a cheap ticket, hand luggage only, make sure that your hand luggage meets the security requirements. So you can't carry excess makeup, liquids, sharp implements. I left a screwdriver in my bag once. I forgot it was there. That didn't go down too well. So that's something you should be aware of when you're flying cheap. Without baggage, can you actually get what you're carrying on the plane in the first place? So, as I said, hand luggage is what you can take on board with you, and since 9/11 and the shoe bomber, there have been regular changes to what you can and can't take on board. The typical maximum weight of what you can take on board is around about 5 kilograms, but some go up to 7, so you do need to check your airline's website carefully to find out how much you can take on board. If you're over the limit, and companies such as Wizz Air have different sizes, they will force you to check your luggage, and it will cost you a fortune if that happens at the gate. So, just to repeat myself, check with the airline's website what you can take on board with you. So, the most important rule, I suppose, on the hand luggage is the 100 milliliter rule. and I've tried to find out why it's 100 millilitres because it doesn't make any sense to me. But I've been told as a need-to-know basis, somebody decided that's what it's going to be, and that's what it's going to be. So we can't argue with it. So you can only take limited quantities of liquids through security in a 1 litre bag, but the most you can carry in a particular, the largest, so it's a 1 litre bag, but the containers that you have to carry the liquids in, the most they can carry when full is 100 millilitres. So you can't have 100 millilitres in a 250 millilitre container. You can only carry 100. Which is get to me why there's the problem, because you can have loads of 100 millilitre containers, as much as you can get into your 1 litre bag and your companions. And then you can go to Boots or Duty Free and get a litre bottle and put it all together and mix it all up. But that's just me going off again. The bag, which is a 1 metre, is 8 inches by 8 inches. And again, I tried to find out why it's that size, and basically somebody decided that was the most inconvenient way to get people to travel. No, they decided that would make it harder for somebody to carry on something which could be a danger to other passengers. What they use for their maths, I don't know, but I got a letter from the Department for Transport, and that says it allows them to take passengers a reasonable amount of liquids, but it doesn't mean they can carry a dangerous amount of liquids. And after the break, I'm going to go on to the checked baggage, the stuff that you should look out for when you put stuff in the hold.
Step into the spotlight with me, Lucy, every Wednesday between 6 and 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. I'll have new music, the latest entertainment news, and interviews with local bands. If you're in a band, or if you have music that you think I should be playing, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, lucy@seclosounds.org, and join me every Wednesday from 6 till 7 for Spotlight on Seclo Sounds.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. When it comes to your suitcase, which is checked baggage, there's two systems used by airlines. There's the weight system, which is probably the one you're most familiar with, where you're allowed to have a maximum weight, which ranges from 15 kilograms to 23 for economy class passengers. If you go over your allowance, you will be charged excess baggage. And there can be a size allowance as well, which sometimes given as height times width times depth, or can be given by X, where X equals height plus width plus depth. So you have to measure all of them to see what the total size is. But sometimes when you're given a limit, it also includes your hand luggage as well. So the current weight limit for Thomson Fly Premium is 30 kilograms, but that includes 7 kilograms hand luggage. So if your suitcase is more than 23 kilograms, you will be charged. An excess is only allowed if there's room on board the aircraft to take it anyway. So don't just assume that you can be over your allowance and still take it on board. You may find you'll be flying without it. And there's also a maximum weight per item as well for health and safety reasons, and that's around about 32 kilograms. And there is also a maximum size limit too, for whether they can fit it in and for health and safety. Excess used to be between 1 and 1.5% of the highest one-way adult economy ticket per kilogram. And now different airlines have their own systems in place. British Airways had a set charge of £30 or €50 for a bag, set in the local currency. Some airlines do allow you to pull your weight when travelling on the same ticket, but others such as Ryanair do not. So you can't spread your allowance over a ticket. So beware of that. It's now easier with some airlines to actually take extra suitcases, and this will be cheaper to book online, so don't leave it until check-in. Virgin Atlantic, for example, how each bag will cost up to 3 times as much to check it in at the check-in than it does if you check it in online in advance of your flight. EasyJet allows 8 pieces of checked baggage, but they can only add up to 20 kilograms in total. People pay for the extra cases, believing they can have 20 kilograms per case, but that's not the case, and some big American travel review person got caught out big time on that. And the other way of carrying the luggage is a piece system, and you'll be allowed a set number of bags. There are still some weight and size limits though, but you can carry more bags. A piece system does make life easier if travelling with sporting equipment such as skis and golf bags, so these are included as one bag, depending on the weight and the dimensions. With a weight system, the skis and golf bags will be extra, and excess charges are not common. So you should check with your airline whether you're flying by weight or by piece.